So this is me finally getting around to talking about how we book Walt Disney World. I'm going to do Walt Disney World and Paris in separate videos because it would just be too long to put it all in one, and I think maybe too confusing as well. So I'm going to just do two separate ones. So Walt Disney World, we have only ever booked through Walt Disney Travel Company directly. We've looked at every tour operator there is. We've looked at the high street ones. We've looked at ones that specialise in Florida. There's quite a few of those. We've looked at staying on site, off site, car hire, villas, and we just find cheaper to book through Walt Disney Travel Company and to stay in a Disney hotel. Other people may do it differently, but that's just how we do it. I'm the only driver in our house, and I wouldn't want to drive in Florida. I may change my mind one day, but at the moment I don't personally feel comfortable driving in Florida. I've never driven abroad. And also when you add on car hire, it all becomes more expensive because you're adding extras on. So some people prefer to do a villa and to hire a car and sort of travel around. We don't tend to. We just book with Walt Disney Travel Company direct. We stay in a Disney hotel and we use all the transport within Disney to get around, which is free. The transport within Disney, there's buses, there's the Skyliner, which is like an overhead cable car, and there's the monorail. And once you're in Disney, though, that's all free. That's included in your cost. It's really efficient, it's really easy to use, and we just prefer to do it that way. If we do ever go off-site, we tend to go to Walmart or to sort of Vineland, which is an outlet, and we would use an Uber or Lyft. We look at both to see which is cheaper at the time, and we just use that to go out and get a bit of shopping, etc. We also book our flights separately. So the first time we went, we did book a whole package and we flew with Virgin. That was really good, but having looked since, I personally think it's cheaper to book your flights separately. This time we're flying with Norse Atlantic Airways. It used to be Norwegian Air, and I think they've rebranded or sort of been redone as Norse Airways. We've never flown with them before, but they are significantly cheaper. I think because they do it a different way. So you book the flight, and then you get, I think, one meal included. You can add a second meal if you wish. We haven't. We're just going to take food with us to have as the second meal, because the second meal on the flight tends to be like with an Orlando flight, because on the way out it's a day flight. You get a meal and then you get like an afternoon tea normally with Virgin or BA. This one, it would be like a sandwich or whatever, so we're just going to buy a sandwich at the airport and take it on and have that sort of later on in the flight. Again, it keeps costs down. Norse is a lot cheaper to fly with them. Have a look. That's how we book it, and it does seem to be much cheaper than flying with the bigger, more well-known airlines. Another thing we do is we tend to book a Walmart shop about a week before we fly. So to help save money when we're there, we book a Walmart shop. We get that delivered to the hotel, which you can do. You get it delivered to the hotel that you're staying in. I normally book a slot for when we're going to arrive. So say we land at 3 p.m, we would then get the shop delivered for around 5 or 6 p.m, so that it's there waiting for us by the time you've got through security and whatever at the airport, and then you get your transfer. The shop's there waiting for us when we arrive, and we tend to get things like bottled drinks, so like any fizzy drinks you want, or bottles of water. We get those delivered to the hotel, so that saves money buying drinks in the parks, because it is expensive. Buying food and drinks in the parks can be expensive. We do buy some, but we just try and keep costs down by buying the bulk of what we want before we get to the parks. And you get a small fridge in your room. We just put the next day's drinks in, so like a few bottles of water, a couple of bottles of Coke or lemonade, whatever, into the fridge, and then we take those into the parks with us the next day. We also take the Robinson's shot, like the squash, the little shots that you can buy. We take those with us because ice water is free in the parks. There are stations around the park, or you can ask in quick serve restaurants for them to refill your drink with water, and water is free in the park, so we then use those as we're in there. Take a cup with you, and that saves money as well. So transport from Orlando Airport to your Disney hotel, they used to offer a free transfer called the Magic Express, which up until I think COVID was part of a package from the UK, which was amazing. We used that before. Mears Connect has replaced the Magic Express, so it's the same principle, and I think it's the same company. They will pick you up from Orlando Airport. You walk down, you go downstairs in Orlando Airport, turn right, and then walk right to the end, and there's the Mears Connect coaches are there. And you can either book when you arrive, or you can book in advance. I think it's $16 an adult and $13 for a child, which is really reasonable. And then that will pick you up and take you to your Disney hotel. It is a bit longer than using an Uber, because obviously that would be direct from the airport to just your hotel. This is a bit like when you go on any kind of package holiday, it has several hotels on the route. So you could be first or you could be last. So I think it can take anywhere between an hour to 2 hours. We've never had it 2 hours before. And it is part of the experience. It kind of adds to the excitement once you go and get onto the bus and then you drive. You can relax as well. Just sat on the bus. I think they have little TV screens that show cartoons or information about Disney or Orlando. That you can watch on your transfer, and then that will take you directly to the hotel. We really like it. We've always used it. We probably will use it again when we fly in October, although our flight in October does land a bit later, and there is a 5-hour time difference. So Orlando is 5 hours behind the UK. So when you land, if it's sort of 9 p.m. UK time, it will be 4 p.m. in Orlando, so you kind of get a bit of a second wind when you land because of the excitement, but you will crash quite early when you get there, which then helps you get up early for the next day to start your park day, your first day in the parks. Another tip to help save money is to look at the time of year you go. We're restricted to school holidays. Obviously we've got a child of school age, and I work in a school now, so we are restricted to going within school times. If you don't have children of school age, or your children have left school, or they're too young to be at school, and you can look at going outside of those school holidays, that will save you a hell of a lot of money. Easter tends to be the most expensive time, and I think October can be quite expensive, and Christmas. August is slightly cheaper because the American children go back to school, I think, at the beginning or towards the middle of August. So the last 2 weeks in August do tend to be cheaper. However, it's roasting hot in Florida in August. So bear that in mind. It is extremely hot and humid in August. So you may not want to go during those 2 weeks, because that is sort of the height of summer. It's incredibly hot there. A lot of people do go. We've got friends that go, and we've got friends that are going, and I think it's just as enjoyable. You just have to obviously make those preparations to know that it is going to be incredibly hot when you're there. Our favourite time to go is kind of January, February, March time. We went last year in February, and it was perfect. The weather was perfect. It's not too hot. It is still very warm. It can reach 30 degrees still. but it tends to be a bit quieter, although there's not that many quiet times in Disney now. But it does tend to be slightly quieter. It is much cooler in temperature, and because there's no specific holidays, sort of Easter or Halloween or Christmas, it tends to be a bit cheaper. That is a really good way to save money. If you can look at going at those times, if you could use the February half term and go for a 10-day trip, that will definitely save you money than if you're going to go at Easter when it's extremely expensive and extremely busy. I think last year during the Easter break, Magic Kingdom sold out, so it was at full capacity, which would make it incredibly busy. So there's definitely a way to help save money, is to look at what time of year you go and for the length of time that you go. If you can do a 10-day trip, that will definitely save you money compared to going for 2 or 3 weeks, obviously. And also look at what parks you definitely want to do. If you want to just go to Disney, which is what we do, that definitely helps save on cost. If you add Universal and then you add SeaWorld and the other parks in, all of that is going to add extra cost onto your holiday. If you are purely going for Disney, just stick to Disney. There's plenty to do. I mean, even in 10 days you wouldn't get it all done because there is so much to do there. That will help keep costs down, just to sort of restrict yourselves to just Disney instead of adding Universal on as well. We do want to go back and do Universal, but we'll probably look at doing that when my son is a bit older and he can ride all the rides comfortably, because Universal, the rides do tend to be a bit bigger than Disney. Disney is probably geared up for sort of a younger audience, whereas Universal, although it does cater for younger children, a lot of the rides are the really big roller coasters, which younger children are probably not going to be doing. So that will save you money in that way as well. If you are going to look at staying in a Disney hotel, there are 3 different tiers of Disney hotels. So you have the value hotels, the moderate hotels and the deluxe. Value hotels are definitely not value hotels. They're really, really luxurious and lovely. The theming in the value hotels, I would say, is definitely more geared up for children. So you have like the All-Star Movie Resort, which is all Disney movie themed. Really lovely for children. The music and the All-Star Sports hotels as well. So you've got All-Star Music, All-Star Sports. Obviously sports is self-explanatory. So if you've got little boys who love football or, you know, basketball, whatever, that hotel is really themed sort of for children, young children, even adults who love Disney. We personally love the value resorts because they are so Disney themed. You really feel immersed in the whole Disney theming for the time you're there, which is lovely. We have stayed in moderate resorts. We stayed at Colorado Springs and Port Orleans Riverside. Absolutely beautiful hotels. Riverside, I would say, is our favourite. It's just stunning, but it although they are child friendly, they're not as themed as the value resorts, and the value resorts will be obviously the cheaper option, but don't think that you're not going to get as much for your money there. You really are. The restaurants are lovely, the quick serve restaurants, and the theming in the hotels is amazing. We have also stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is beautiful, and you have the animals outside the hotel rooms, which is incredible, but does obviously come at a huge premium. We were really lucky to have that gifted to us by a friend to stay there for my son's birthday last year, which was amazing. But if you're going to do like a 2-week or a 10-day trip, obviously that is going to add a lot on to your cost, rather than if you stay in a value resort, which your experience would be just as amazing to stay in the value resort. So I think that's it really. I can't think of anything else to tell you. If you have got any questions, let me know and I can always answer those. I had no idea how to do this video, which is why I did it as a YouTube video so that people could come and watch. I think stories would have been too long and a reel probably would have been too long as well. So it's the first time I've ever made a YouTube video. Hopefully it's okay and it gave you what you need. If you do have any questions, just message me directly and I can answer those for you. And thank you for watching.